one should hear directly from Lord Krishna or his bona fide representative and directly, fix the mind in Lord Krishna. So this is the teachings. Now, the meaning of the names, Sanaka means ancient. Sanatana means eternal. Sanandana means joyful. And Sanat means ever young. So this is the meaning of the names of the four sages. So these Sanaka, all these four Kumaras, they had an impersonal understanding of the Lord, before. But we can see in the pastime of the Kumaras with Jaya Vijaya, in 3:15:43. 3:15:43, the verse very nicely explains how their mind and body got transformed. Right? Tasyara vinda nayanasya padara vinda kinjal kamishna tulasi makaranda vayu. So the breeze which was flowing from the lotus feet of the Lord, carried the fragrance of the lotus feet, and plus there was tulsi at the feet of the Lord, tulsi leaf. So the fragrance of the tulsi leaf also carried with the breeze. And antagataha, that means it entered swavivarena through their nostrils. Chakara desham. Then what happened? Samshobham. That means there was agitation in their body and mind. Akshara jusham. And they who were attached to the impersonal Brahman realization, they changed. So their hearts, mind, everything got transformed, and they became devotees of the Lord. Actually, so this is the way they changed from impersonal to personal realization. So they were all, if you go back to the verse now, so if you go back to the verse, they say all of them were unwilling to adopt materialistic activities because they were highly elevated due to the semen flowing upwards. That means, see, there are two kinds of brahmacharis. One is Naishtika and Upakurvana brahmachari. Naishtika means they are always brahmacharis. They are steady. Upakurvana brahmachari is, those are brahmachari until the age of 25, and then they get married with the permission of the spiritual master. So, this is, they're talking of the retention of the semen, which is very important actually. So, Udvaredasa means brahmacharis who have never discharged semen. Actually. So celibacy is very important, even though one does not undergo any austerities, penances, or ritualistic ceremonies. If one simply keeps himself a pure brahmachari, not discharging the semen, the result is after death he goes to Satyaloka. So like this Prabhupada is saying in 4.11.5. So the memory is increased, the determination is increased, and such brahmacharis who don't discharge, they are called Veera Vrata, because of their vow of celibacy, is compared to the vows of the Kshatriya, very like heroic. So this is very, very important. Even in our behavior also, we should be very careful when we Prabhus and Matajis are interacting. We should be very careful in our interactions. Like Chanakya says, Matravat Paradhareshu. Right? So every woman, other So you don't see it and see them in any other way. So this is the way we must look at them. Matravat paradharesh. So this is the way we have to do. And my Guru Maharaj also said that if you are talking to some Mataji on the phone, it should not be more than 3 minutes maximum. Don't talk more than that. Because it is something, when you are talking on the phone, only 2 of you are talking to each other. Nobody is hearing. So you should not restrict it to minimum at all, totally. Even in the office, when you have secretaries or other employees and all that, you must be careful. Everything should be very official relation. You should not get down into your personal things at all. It's very easy to slip. Because nowadays there is so much interaction. So these things we have to be careful if you want to protect our devotional service. For the Mataji's purpose, it's all the same. So we have to be very careful. So there are a lot of advantages in doing this. Those, Prabhupada, generally all the sannyasis, they say that when you are attending class, you must try to take notes and all that. But in the olden days, they used to not take notes because they were not Shrutidhara. Shrutidhara means as soon as they hear, they remember. So we are not Shrutidhara, so we should be very careful. We should try to note down this is important. So Prabhupada wrote in a letter to his disciple, who had some problems. In your letter, you have made it clear that you are finding some difficulty with sex desire and have asked guidance from me to instruct you how to handle this problem of the material body. First of all, I think you should know that such problems are not very unnatural because in the body, the conditioned soul is very prone to failure. But also we must remember that such failure will not discourage us from executing the most important mission of our life, to become fully in Krishna consciousness. So whatever fall down has been, you should be regretful about it. But it is not so serious, nor is it a permanent disqualification. But you must try to check yourself from such artificial things and take full shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. I think that for such checking, marriage is the only solution. It is understood that everyone has some nasty habits, but by sticking to Krishna consciousness, chanting our required rounds loudly, and tending the deities, these items will surely save you. So always be seriously engaged in serving Krishna and pray to Krishna to help you with your frailties. But I think that marriage is a solution with no other alternative. If you are married, you can continue to practice all the items of worship and with more peace of mind. So such solution, along with redoubled efforts to serve nicely and be very pleasing unto Krishna, these things will help you. I have always known you as a very good, sincere boy. So with utmost seriousness, you must consider these points and act upon them. I shall hope to be hearing from you soon on this matter. So Prabhupada was always very encouraging. So there is, when we eat our food, it is converted first into chyle, some milky bodily fluid, which is absorbed by the lymph, I'm not sure, from wounds. So then this chyle is converted to blood, blood is to flesh, flesh is to fat, converted to fat, and fat converted to bone. Bone is converted to bone marrow, and then from there the semen comes. So it is a very, there's a lot of strength in it, and it's the essence, of all the material, of the food which you eat. It is becomes into semen, and semen also has a function, so it has to produce another living entity, and it has got all the ingredients. Now, if that is just wasted away, then we lose a lot. On the other hand, if it is reserved, then that can be used to increase our spiritual capacity. So, so this semen, it nourishes the body, heart and the intellect. So one drop of semen is made from 80 drops of blood. So you can imagine this, how much blood is converted into this. It's from Ayurveda. So there's a verse which says, Maranam Bindu Patana, Jivanam Bindu Rakshana. So this is the thing. So Prabhupada is very strongly written in 326, 326, 57 Prabhupada. Prabhupada is very strongly written about it. So he says, it is understood herewith that the faculty to discharge semen is the cause of death. Therefore, yogis and transcendentalists who want to live for greater spans of life voluntarily restrain themselves from discharging semen. The more one can restrain the discharge of semen, the more one can be aloof from the problem of death. There are many yogis living up to 300 or 700 years by this process, and in the Bhagavatam it is clearly stated that discharging semen is the cause of horrible death. The more one is addicted to sexual enjoyment, the more susceptible he is to a quick death. So, this is the thing. So, I mean, this just, since this mentioned in the verse, it came to this point. There are a lot of things on this. Maybe you can get that information, but the essence is this. So we have to be very careful about it. We can't, nowadays the materialistic life forces us, to think in different ways, but we have to be guided by Bhagavatam. And then Prabhupada says in the purport that although Brahma created the principles of necessity as a matter of necessity for those living entities who are destined to ignorance by the will of the Lord, he was not satisfied in performing such a thankless task. He therefore created 4 principles of knowledge. That is Sankhya, or empirical philosophy for analytical study of critical conditions. Yoga, then Vairagya and Tapas, Tapaha, austerities. So, but Prabhupada writes at the end that even if you do all these things, it is not complete unless it is you go to devotional service. Unless we attach this with devotional service, then it has no spiritual value. So, so we do a lot of austerities. Austerities is subjecting our body voluntarily to some difficulties, and depriving it of certain needs. So that is tapaha, voluntary. So, and penance is required actually, but it should be done for a particular purpose, not tapasya, like how Hiranyaksha put it. Tapasya, it has to be done well, like how Dhruva Maharaj did tapasya. So he was eating very little, and finally he was not eating anything at all, not drinking, and even stopped breathing. So this is the way he did tapasya, but he did it to see Lord Vishnu, so Lord Narayana. So which he finally did, and that should be the goal of tapasya. Though Dhruva attain, he did not do the tapasya for Krishna, attaining Krishna prem, but he had a material motive. But eventually he did attain Krishna prem because he was perfectly guided by Narad Muni. You know. And then the chanting of the names purified him completely. You know. So though he may have had material intentions, eventually he attained pure love for God. So that's why Bhagavatam says Akam 2-3 times, you know, Akam Sarvakam Mokshakam Dhanati Tivrena Bhakti Yogena Yajeta Purusham. So this is the way we have to, for anything, even we want, we have fruitive results in mind, still we go to Krishna, just like Guru Maharaj. So that way we make our tapasya very successful. Even Vairagya also. You know, Vairagya is there, that is detachment. You know. It should not be just detachment for the sake of showing or, you know, just for getting some acknowledgement, you know, or for some other purpose, you know, like impersonal realization or something like that. This Vairagya is of no use, you know, but we give up certain things and we engage ourselves positively. It is not just the negative, but engage ourselves positively in Krishna's service, and that Vairagya will give us success. There is one verse called like Jnana Vairagya Yuktena, which what is the verse? So again, once we get knowledge, when we see do Vairagya, then we get knowledge. And knowledge and renunciation, they go together. What's the number?
325.
325. Can we read the translation? 43, right?
Yes.
Jnana Vairagya Yuktena Bhakti Yogena Yoginah Kshemaya Pada Moolam Me Pravishantya Kuto Bhayam. The yogis equipped with transcendental knowledge and renunciation and engaged in devotional service for their eternal benefit take shelter of my lotus feet, and since I am the Lord, they are thus eligible to enter into the kingdom of God without fear. Yuktena Bhakti Yogena. So this is Prabhupada is explaining in this purport very nicely. So this should be our goal. The yogis equipped with transcendental knowledge and renunciation and engaged in devotional service. The devotional service should be there for their eternal benefit. You know, so engaged in devotional service for their eternal benefit. So if you don't do it, then the benefit is only temporary. You know, without devotional service. For the eternal benefit. They take shelter of my lotus feet, and since I am the Lord, they are thus eligible to enter into the kingdom of God without fear. And Sankhya Yoga, the fourth aspect of knowledge, is they say that the material world is all in all. You know, that's the atheistic Sankhya Yoga. That means that 24 elements, everything is revolving around this, and this is the final thing. It comes from this and ends in this. But that is not the actual Sankhya Yoga. So the real Kapila Dev said, again, you have to add devotion. You have to add the knowledge of the soul, the super soul, the time, all these other elements you have to add. And then that knowledge becomes complete. So we can see in the life of great devotees like he had also yoga siddhi, like this one more point which is mentioned here, yoga siddhi. He could become bigger than the biggest, smaller than the smallest. He could do anything actually. Hanuman is a very good example. And Vairagya, he was very renounced. He didn't want anything other than the service of Lord Ram. And Tapaha, he was very austere. Hanuman was very austere. So this way, he's a very good example of Lord Hanuman. How he engaged all these four aspects of knowledge along with devotion. And this, the four Kumaras, they started the Nimbarka Sampradaya. Nimbarka was the prominent Acharya in this Sampradaya. So, but there's a slight difference with Brahma Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, Brahma Mantra Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. Because they talk of union of Radha and Krishna. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us the feeling of separation. So that is one difference. But essentially, devotion to Krishna. So, Nimbarka Sampradaya is also a bona fide Sampradaya. I think time is over. So should we stop now? Yes. So, this is the conclusion basically. Without devotional service, one cannot achieve success in any activity or spiritual value. Yantra Shiva Bhagavatam ki Jai, Shri Prabhupada ki Jai, Shri Bhagavatam ki Jai, Prabhupada ki Jai, Prabhupada ki Jai.
You can take a question or two. Anybody has question? If there's no questions, then you can just do 5 minutes of kirtan.